A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 12, verses 1 to 8. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. One Sabbath, Jesus was crawling with his disciples through a field of ripe grain. Hungry, the disciples were pulling off the heads of grain and munching on them. Some Pharisees reported them to Jesus. "Your disciples are breaking the Sabbath rules." Jesus said, "Really? Didn't you ever read what David and his companions did when they were hungry? How they entered the sanctuary and ate fresh bread off the altar. Bread that no one but priests were allowed to eat. And didn't you ever read in God's law that priests, carrying out their temple duties, break Sabbath rules all the time, and it's not held against them?" There is far more at stake here than religious. If you had any idea what this scripture meant, I prefer a flexible heart to an inflexible ritual. You wouldn't be nitpicking like this. The Son of Man is no yes man to the Sabbath. He is in charge. The Gospel of the Lord.
Good morning. Let's listen to a short reflection according to St. Matthew chapter 12 verses 1 to 8. Dancing before the Lord. Repetitively in the Gospels, Jesus is depicted as breaking the sacred law of the Sabbath, the rule to rest on the seventh day. For instance, he frequently heals on the Sabbath, much to the disapproval of the upholders of Jewish law. In today's Gospel, following his disciples' act of harvesting grain on the Sabbath, Jesus proclaims himself as the Lord of the Sabbath. When only Yahweh could be given the title, Lord of the Sabbath, what is Jesus suggesting? Jesus cited two instances from their history as documented in the Scriptures to prove that their interpretation of the law of Sabbath was wrong. The first was about David and his soldiers entering God's house and consuming the loaves of bread meant for God because they were hungry. This act was prohibited for anyone apart from the priests. Secondly, Jesus highlighted that the priests on temple duty not only worked on the Sabbath but also worked more than usual on that day, just as the priests do today on Sundays. Nonetheless, they are not accused of violating the Sabbath. Today's Gospel passage highlights that small-mindedness and legalism can easily infect our Catholic life. Obviously, our legalistic attitudes towards matters of faith are at the root of a lot of divisions in the Church. The rubrics often take precedence, causing us to overlook the importance of showing love. At the Diocese's commissioning Mass for World Youth Day 2023, the delegates presented a dance within the church. Critics exclaimed, "Dancing is forbidden inside the church as it is a sacred place." If our youth are not allowed to dance in front of God, where else can they express themselves in this manner? Our attendance at Mass would hold no value if we were unwilling to show forgiveness and compassion towards our fellow believers.